Hello, I'm Julia Cordova. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel and liking my videos. I super appreciate it. And Happy New Year, everybody. I'm looking at 2022 as an opportunity to take what didn't go well in 2021 and try to make it better. And then also to look at what did go well in 2021 and go with it. So with that said, last week, my highest conviction trade was that gold and silver, as well as gold miners, would close the week up. And yay, that one was a good one. And if you follow me on Twitter, you saw me take a small short at ES or SPX futures resistance. And so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what we think is going to happen for this year. I don't know. But for this next week, I will say that my highest confidence trade is, again, that gold and silver will close the week higher. So with that said, let's talk charts. You ready? Woo! All right. Oh, and I'm going to start off by looking at the ES or SPX futures in the yearly format. What? All right. So this is the yearly chart of ES or SPX futures. Look at that. It's really hard to say this is toppy-toppy, isn't it? Tippy-toppy. It's not, right? It's just way above. I didn't even put any lines on this. I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty freaking bullish to me, at least short term, okay? But anywho, we're way above the 9 MA, although granted, this data doesn't go back very far. It looks like it goes back to 97 or so, but we're way above the 9 MA, we're way above the 20 MA, and even a pretty significant drop would still be super bullish, actually, bigger picture. But let's look at the monthly. I'll zoom in on that. Okay, so looks like so far we've broken out of this upwards channel, back tested it, and then whoop-de-whooped up, okay? So if there were some sort of pullback imminently, I would expect that this 4400 or 4403 area would have some support. And then below that, well, we'll take that as it comes, but that would be the first area of support. I would think it would be higher low overall. And so let's then look at the usual charts we look at. Whoops. Okay, so this is the weekly chart. You saw me, if you follow me on Twitter, take a short right in this area. Okay, I'll make it big. Took a short right in this area, added a little bit to it, and I've already taken some profit in it. So for this week, I'm keeping a short bias actually, unless we get above this 47.89 area, and then I will question myself. But that's sort of for me, that's like a oops, okay, bail on whatever I've got left there. But yeah, I'm sorry this is such a wide range on the weekly, but I'm looking at support at 46.17. Above that, bullish, okay? Below that, questionable, but not bearish until we're below this 43.80 level, right? Which makes sense since that 4400 was a support on ES. Funny, on the ES weekly chart. Funny how it works that way, right? So anyway, that's the pivot I'm looking, those are the weekly pivots I'm looking at. All right, so let's put some color on this on the daily chart. Okay, so I had drawn the slope in before because generally speaking, when we saw something similar to this the last go round, this slope actually held us down. And this time it didn't do that on the daily, right? But so far what's happened is we've broken above it and then we've back tested it. So I'm looking at this daily line this week as sort of my key level above. And right, it might be bullish. It is bullish above that. Let me just say it is. But below that, and it's questionable. So that's 4753.5 for Sunday night / Monday. And then I don't really have a lot. If it does not get below this, I'd expect it to continue up, right? So, and then below that, of course we have the handy dandy MAs, but I don't have a lot of support all the way to this 4634 level. So those are the figures I'm watching on a daily basis. Let's look at NQ. Okay, so on the weekly, this is interesting. Finally got not lazy and drew in this breakout line, and look what happened. We closed the week just ever so slightly below it. So that kind of looks like a fakey breaky to me. Yep. But we closed so close to it upon this, upon open this week, that I'm just going to use this 16,310 level as a key level above bullish, below bearish, okay? And then I don't have a whole lot of resistance here until 17,033. And then I don't have a lot of support either, except for these MAs, because look, this is chopped up so much that it's kind of not supporting anymore. So 15,310 15,335 is the next level of support, as well as 15,209, of course. And that really needs to hold, or else there'll be a much more significant correction shorter term. Okay, let's look at small caps. I just spit. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Anyway, listen. So last week I always talk about, I don't know how y'all can trade it, but I actually nailed the low and the high for last week. So maybe I should think about trading a little more often. Anywho, so far we've back tested this robot line, and that's the important line. Above 2277.6, bullish. And, you know, price closed below these 3 MAs. So this is still technically not bullish. I don't know if I'd call it bearish, right? Because it's just consolidating here, and look at all this chop. But support this week is at 2220.4, and then below that 2180. Okay, and this is sort of a by the effing dip level, in my opinion, which would be 2040.3. Okay, actually it's off a little bit. Let me fix that. Why not have my glasses on? Sorry, 2042.7 is sort of the starting to buy the dip area there, okay? Or last chance. Well, next to last chance, right? You've got a chance. We got a chance here, but ideally bulls want this momentum to continue and want it to get above 2277.6. That's the big number, I think. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still consolidating, not a lot to say, above 48,480, bullish, okay? Next level of resistance, 51,515, and 44,300 is support, although I hope it doesn't get there because that's going to look a little bearish, okay? Same dealio with Ethereum. It's doing the same kind of thing. Above 3969, bullish. Below, a little bit questionable, and support, depending on what day it gets there, is about 3,200 or so, okay, depending on when it gets there. Let's look at Doge. I actually doubled my position in Doge this past week. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I hope it doesn't do anything weird, right? Price action is still technically bearish. It's still below those 3 MAs, but I'm starting to like what I see. I'm starting to see some crossing action happening here. So best thing for me, at least, would be if price starts to get above these MAs and starts to get some momentum up. But I'm hopeful there. I don't know if that's, I hope that's not a cursey thing to say. But anyway, as long as we're above this, see how we hit RSI resistance just yesterday, and then so far today we're above that. So I think that's a really good sign, even though we're not above those MAs. I think that's a really, really good sign. So I'll watch that on Twitter this week if anything interesting happens. Let's look at gold miners. Okay, start off by looking at the weekly. So close the week pretty significantly higher. Finally back above the 20 MA. But so far bounced off the 9 MA, but this is looking pretty bullish at this point. In fact, it's bullish above 31.27, and of course it's even, I think, a good buy at this 30.85. I do think that price will go up to all the way to this, or around this, I should say, 33.66 area, so 33.24 to 33.66, that's this range. I think it will test that, if not this week, the next week, and we'll see what happens. We really want to start to get some upward momentum here pretty soon. It could be a chop week, but I'd like to see it get higher than, I'd like to see it show some progress as a bull. Okay, let's look at gold. Oh boy, finally above this 1811 area, yay. But ultimately, and it is bullish, it's a bullish anywhere above this 1788.9 area, which it back tested pretty freaking well this past week. But ultimately, it's only super bullish if it can get above this 1845 area, above there, and superty bullish. But at least we got a little bit of upwards action last week, even if it scared us for a little bit of time. Let's look at silver. Silver's looking extremely constructive to me. It does look like it may backtest this 24.94 area, if not this week, the next week. I mean, this week that'd be pretty bullish, I think, but let's see. I was looking for it to close somewhere above this 2311 area last week for it to be constructive, but it's still below these MAs. And so above 23, the next resistance, I should say, is 23.475. Above that, bullish. That'll also be above these MAs, I think. And then if you wanted to try and buy a dip in that and it goes all the way to 2311, I think that's also a good buy at this point, but you know, with a reasonable stop set below that. Okay, but so far I'm really liking this action that we're seeing in metals and miners. Let's look at oil. Oh boy. Okay, so with oil, I will, and I'm a little bit kind of metza on this. I don't know exactly what's going to happen this week, but I would say below the 76.95, and it's still kind of well, I mean, I guess if I were a bull, I'd look for it to get above that, and then that to me is sort of the okay. Now we're going to go all the way level, right? As long as we're above 72.52, I think it's bullish. But below that, I think it definitely could backtrack here quite significantly fast. But I really don't know. I'm not getting a whole lot of intelligence from this. I mean, I'm sorry I can't be more succinct, but I'm just not getting a lot from this chart. However, if I look at the oil stonks, it looks like we back tested the bottom of the channel last week, held the channel. So for it to be bullish, it pretty much has to stay above 95.61 this, or close above 95.61 this week. That'd be bullish. But the real key area is, like I said before, 100.43, okay, above, bullish, below, and yeah, we'll have to see what happens. All right, let's look at Natty. So as bad as Natty looks, the reason I keep looking over there is because I have a little baby Nathan that has come into my window. So I'm thinking this week is an up week. I don't know why, it always happens that way. This looks bad, right? I mean, ultimately we have a lower low here, but also a higher high, so I don't know. But I think it's so far tried to hold the 50 MA here. So I'm going to go with a bullish bias this week. I'm going to attempt to buy it again. Oh, Lord. All right, let's look at Joe. I accidentally left it off last week. I am so sorry. I am super bullish, Joe, still. But I really do hope it gets down to this 58.59 level. That would be a back test of the bottom of the channel as well as a back test of this breakout. And I will buy the bejesus out of that on a longer term basis, knowing that, sure, it could dip more, but no, I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but I would really like it to get down here. I will be singing its praises and buying the F out of it, should that happen. Okay, so 58.59 on coffee. And the upper resistance, if it gets there, is 67.67 this week. Okay, and then still, I'm expecting it to get to 77.07 at some point. All right, that's it. Let me make myself big. Thank you again for subscribing to my YouTube channel and liking my videos. I super appreciate it, and I will see you on the interwebs. Happy New Year. Okay, bye.